let's just go over her base kit. So first things, so let's look at it in here. So first things first, scroll. Oh shit, okay. So first things first, let's talk. So she has 275 base HP. She has 15 ammo in her primary fire, and she's got 3 different abilities. So let's talk about her primary fire first. So her primary fire is very similar to Invisible Woman's, where it is able to hit allies to heal them and enemies to damage them. However, it has that ricochet effect like Invis does, where you can it hits the ally going through and then comes back, but in this case it's a ricochet effect, so it can hit one ally and it'll bounce and heal the other one, right? And it's the same for the opponent. You can shoot it to do damage and it will ricochet and hit multiple different players. Alright, it does significantly more healing than it does damage, and it cannot headshot. But it does look like the headshots actually do more damage. So let's see, if I hit them in the arm here. No, it's the same amount. So you can't headshot, you can't do any more damage. As long as you hit the player, it's doing the max effect. So first ability we have to talk about here is her right click. Now, her right click is called Spectral Surge. Okay? Spectral Surge is, it's kind of like an AoE effect that kind of like Blade's ultimate. It's a straight line and it has a certain amount of range. Now, if you notice in the middle of the screen, under my crosshair, there's these 3 tail markers / resources. And that is kind of like how Daredevil has his flame resource. She has tail resources. So in order to use an ability, she needs to have one of these resources available in order to use an ability. So you right click and you use an ability, but it also uses a tail. Okay? So what does her left click ability do? So it's kind of like a cloak cape and a cloak and dagger cape, like both the black and the white one at the same time, where it'll hit your allies and do healing, and it'll hit the enemies and do damage, right? And it goes pretty far. It's got a pretty long range, right? I could shoot it from back here and it will still hit them. It does a little bit of damage, a little bit of healing. But I also believe, if I'm not mistaken, it has kind of like a cleansing and a CC effect. It's got a lot of different effects that aren't just the base effects that you're seeing right here. So I believe, I can't test it right now because I don't have anybody to help me, but I believe this is capable of canceling ultimates. So I saw a clip where it canceled Strange Ult and it canceled Witch Ult and it can cancel ultimates, right? So it's kind of like a stun. I just clicked the wrong button. Whoops. So it's kind of like a stun, but it also can do healing and damage and everything like that. Let me read. Oh, okay. So it heals and grants invulnerability to allies it passes through, and charms enemies, forcing the foes to move toward White Fox. So basically what that means is for a very short period of time, your allies are actually invincible. It's kind of like a cloak fade, where your allies are invincible to damage, and it, like an invis pull, it will pull the enemies towards you. So if you see that this guy moved a little bit closer to me, it's not that aggressive, but it's a little bit of a CC item. Right? You can barely see the movement, but I played against her in a quick match, and you definitely can feel the pull, for sure. And then I believe it has a stun effect. I think the charming, the charm effect is kind of like an Emma, mind control for very short period. It's very short period of time, but it's enough to cancel ultimates. So her second ability that we're going to talk about is her shift. Her shift is called Spirit Sanctuary. And if you notice, by the way, there's multiple different abilities for each button, and we'll go over why that is. But let's talk about just the base ones. So Spirit Sanctuary says that you teleport to a chosen ally, instantly healing the allies in an area while granting a shield. So how this works is you'll see the prop. It says left shift to guard. And what you can do with this is you can actually see your allies through the walls. And when you click it, you'll instantly teleport to them, heal them, and you see this little circle? It's like imagine an invisible woman shield in a 360 radius. So it's a complete 360 shield. Now, I'm not entirely sure if it's a bubble or if it's just a 360 like flat shield. So like I don't know if when you do this, I don't know if people can shoot you from above. I really can't tell from this, but what I know is it's definitely a circular shield, and it has 200 HP, which is really nice because not only is it an escape tool for the fox, it also can be used as a it can be used as a tool to save an ally because you teleport to them, you heal them, and it will, you know, put a shield up to protect them for a little bit. Also note that there is a little bit of a cast time, so it's not an instant teleportation, right? You have to wait a second, and then it goes up. But it's a really nice tool, 12-second cooldown. Nothing too special, but it's a really nice ability, for sure. It's one of her better abilities. Finally, let's talk about her E. Her E is a Fox Form Awakening. It says, enter awakened state, transforming spirit tails into physical tails. While active, continuously drains spirit tail energy and heal nearby allies. Striking enemies provides additional area healing. So, this is the White Fox's melee form. So, when you click E here, I'm not going to click it because it does only have a cast time, right, an up time. But when you click E, you transform, and your right click and your shift become two different abilities. So I'll show you real quick. So I'll click E, and now you see that my right click is different and my shift is different. So the shift is two different things, okay? So the shift has two effects. Same as like Elsa Bloodstone's E has the initial kip up, and then you can do the shotgun that boops you back. Her shift has two different forms as well, right? And it's called Predatory Pounce. While awakened, dash forward, hit an enemy to slow and flip over them, enabling a second dash that knocks enemies back. So this is a really nice displacement tool. So you pop the E, you go up to them, you hit them, you do a 180 over them, kind of like an Emma grab, and then you click shift again, and it dashes with the enemy in the direction that you want to go, which is really interesting. And it's a really nice displacement tool and a really nice disruption tool. So when you use that, you can displace an enemy, and the shift where you handstand over their head, it's a really nice tool to like get out of trouble because it really is disorienting for the enemies. And then the right click, which I didn't show you yet, is just a blast. It knocks an enemy up, and it does a good amount of damage. Not too much, but it does do a good amount of damage. And then finally, the last thing that we didn't talk about in there was just her primary fire. So let me quickly get the cooldown again. So her primary fire is just claws. Okay, you click it, you do your claws, it'll deal damage to the enemies, and it will also heal allies, right? So you'll see there's a little aura around her, and that aura is kind of like a healing circle. It doesn't do really aggressive healing, but when you hit people, when you hit enemies while you're in your E, and your allies are also in that aura, it will deal a lot of healing. It does a lot of healing. I can't test it here because there's no allies like really close to enemies, but it does do a lot of healing because I played against it. It does a lot of healing. And as you can see there is a way to regenerate these resources, right? So every ability, except for the teleport, requires resources. So her right click requires a tail, her E requires a tail. And how do you recover these? It's very simple. You just do healing. If you see in the middle, the tails are going up really fast when I'm healing guys, right? Same as they go up really fast when you deal damage. So you're going to constantly have this resource, and the way to replenish it is by simply just using your primary fire. Now let's go on to the final ability, which is her ultimate. So her ultimate is the Kamayo Unleashed, which is manifest the nine-tailed form and continuously heal nearby allies. Cannot receive healing effects from others while in this form. So the way this works is when you click Q, your fox character, White Fox, will turn into this big fox creature, And like the Glartrox, the Elsa Bloodstone's Glartrox, it has a 900 HP pool, right? So like the Glartrox, it can be destroyed. So you can kill it by shooting it, but it has a lot of HP, right? But it is big, and you're actually able to headshot this one. So you can actually headshot the fox when she's in it. So aim for the head because it does do more damage. I tested this. I was playing Blade against her, and Blade shotgun can headshot her while she's in the ultimate. So I'll show you how this works. So you activate into this fox. It's like a little healing circle, not really aggressive. And as you can see, I have a right-click ability, and then I have a primary fire that has infinite ammo. Now, I'll show you guys again what this does. So I just wanted to show you what it looked like. You saw I had 900 HP, and now I'm going to show you what you can actually do while you're in this form. So we're going to click Q, we go into this form, we give our allies healing, and then you have a right click that you can do on an ally, and then you have a left click, which does damage to enemies in this circle that you have. Now, what does the right click do? So actually, no, let's talk about her primary fire while you're in the ultimate first. When you do that, as you can see, you're able to do a bunch of damage to any enemies that are in that radius, and you're allowed to move around. It's completely under your control. And whenever you hit an enemy with your primary fire while you're in her ultimate, it will deal a burst of healing to any allies that are also in the radius. So it's really nice for an aggressive push, right? You have your allies, they push with your fox, and they get all the healing that they want, and you deal damage. It's really nice ability to use. Her right click. So what does her right click do while you're in the ultimate? So I don't know 100%. I can't say for sure, but I think I know what it does based on the video that they showed. The right click is you only get I think you only get like one of them. Okay, you only have one right click while you're in her form, and you can put it on any one of your 5 teammates. Now, what this does is it gives an initial burst of healing to whatever ally you choose. It also gives that ally for a certain period of time complete CC immunity. So when you choose which ally you want to give this to, you should probably choose one that is likely to be CC'd or is currently CC'd at the moment. So what this can actually do is offer up as a cleanse, right? Kind of like Gambit cleanse. So let's assume the enemy's Doctor Strange has just ulted your Magneto. You can go into your form and shoot that at them, and as you can you see that golden bar around them? Actually, maybe you can use this infinite amount of times. Oh, okay. Sorry, sorry, I was wrong about that. This is why I test everything. So her right click and her ultimate is actually got no cooldown. However, when you use the right click in her ultimate, it takes a chunk of your HP. So watch this. So I'm going to go into my ultimate, and I'm going to right click a couple times, and you'll watch every time I do a right click, it takes 100 HP. So 100 HP, 100 HP, but it gives your allies burst healing and CC immunity completely, which is really nice. So it can be used as a very nice defensive ult for things like Strange ult and Groot ult, because you can pop it and grant all your allies CC immunity and give them all healing so that they can walk out of the Strange and Groot ultimate, which is a really nice feature. Also, if you didn't notice, her tail resource can actually be represented by the amount of tails she actually has on her character at the time, which is kind of a cool thing. It's not really that big of a deal because you could just look and see how many tails you have, but that was one of the things. And then finally, that's about it. I mean, it's a pretty basic kit, which is very nice, because, you know, they had been adding... Gambit has an incredibly complex kit, and Invis did too, so a lot of buttons. This one is a little bit more simple. This character is going to be used in pretty much... There's only 2 specific archetypes she's going to be used in, okay? Excuse me. This is probably one of the purest dive supports in the game right now, right? The first one we got was definitely support Deadpool, right? Support Deadpool is a very good dive support because of his enhanced movement and his melee attacks doing healing. So she also has that effect while also having this shift TP, which gives her incredible mobility and the ability to access her diving DPS and tanks at a moment's notice, which is really nice. She also has this melee attack, which does a lot of healing while also dealing damage, which is really cool. The other archetype that she's going to be very good in is anti-dive, amazingly enough. So she's a really good dive support, and she's a really good anti-dive support. Now, why is she a good anti-dive support? Because, again, of the same shift ability. She is pretty much incapable of being dove, because if she gets dove, she will simply do this. And now there's a shield. It's an aura of healing. She has a healing circle with this, right? Which is really hard to kill her through. Trust me, I literally have a clip of me and a Hulk ravaging her for like 10 seconds straight while she had no support. And she was living because she was getting so much healing from that E. And then the right click is really good for disrupting dive DPS. I would know. I've played against her a good amount already. So, yeah, in general, that's what she's going to be good at. Now, she won't be good into Brawl or Poke at all because her healing output is not the highest, to be honest. If you're going to use her in Brawl and Poke, she'll have to be in a triple support comp because her healing output is just not that great. But it's a really nice support for dive characters because she is really good at she's really good to help them in killing enemies and staying alive while in the enemy backline. Now, of course, this is probably one of the higher skill supports. No support player is no idiotic support player. Now, I'm not saying all support players are idiotic, but some are kind of just AI, right? Some cloak and dagger with 500 hours who likes to just sit there and hold left click. You can't just pick up this support and be good, okay? This support, it's going to require a lot of skill to get a lot of value, and it's going to be very dependent on her understanding what team comp she's in and which team comp she is against to know how she should use her resources correctly. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm an expert in her, but I'm definitely going to be doing a Bronze to Celestial on this character, and I'm going to be trying to play her as both a sustain support and a dive support when we have dive characters on our team and see which archetype she fits into better. However, I definitely think that she is going to be a more dive-focused support based on the kit that she has right now. Okay? I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking she's going to be. So that was just a quick breakdown of all of her abilities and the archetype that she might be going into.